guys, it's Alicia. Today I am going to be making up some old-fashioned wild huckleberry muffins. Now we are kind of getting ready for our annual summer trip back home, back west, and I realized as I was thinking about that I still have huckleberries out in my freezer from our trip last summer that I need to get used up. So I thought I would use them in these muffins and show you guys how I do that. Now I realize that huckleberries are not the most accessible fruit out there to get, and that is because here in the States they primarily grow in the Pacific Northwest, and even if you live there you can't just go to the store and buy them. You either have to go out in the woods and pick them yourself, or you can find them at farmers markets, that kind of thing. I do believe you can actually order them online now, frozen too, but the point is they're not the easiest fruit to get. That being said, I wanted to show you this recipe anyway because you can absolutely use blueberries instead of huckleberries for this, and they are still gonna turn out really yummy. Now I'm calling these old-fashioned because the recipe that I'm gonna be altering to make more WW friendly is a pretty old recipe. I can't cite where I got it from because I actually don't remember. I just have it written down on a recipe card, but I do remember that it was from the early 1900s. I love recipes that are older like that, and so I have quite a collection of different older recipes, and this is just one of them. But as I said, I'm going to be altering it to make it more Weight Watcher friendly, but they're still gonna be delicious. So let's jump in and see what ingredients you're gonna need to make these. First off, you're gonna need some huckleberries or blueberries. Again, mine were frozen. I just gave them a really good rinse, and now they're pretty much defrosted. But 1.5 cups of either frozen or fresh huckleberries or blueberries. Here I've got 2 cups all-purpose flour. I'm using this monk sweetener for my sweetener in these, and I'm gonna use 1/2 cup of that. You're gonna need 3 teaspoons baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon salt, 3/4 cup unsweetened vanilla almond milk, 1/4 cup no sugar added applesauce, and here I've got a tablespoon of coconut oil, and I let that melt. I just popped it in the microwave for about 10 seconds, and that was all it took. So it's a little easier to work with that way. And then finally, 2 eggs. That is everything that's in these. Let me get them started. First off, in a medium-sized bowl, I'm gonna add in my flour and 3 teaspoons baking powder. And now I'm gonna just whisk all that together really well. Okay, now I'm gonna set this aside and work on the wet ingredients. And then over in my mixer, and you could definitely do this in another bowl and just do this by hand if you want. I'm gonna add in my monk fruit, my coconut oil, and my unsweetened applesauce. And then I'm gonna mix that together real well. I got that mixed up and I just added my eggs in. I forgot to turn my camera on, so I've got the eggs in there, and I'm going to mix that again until those are incorporated. Now I'm gonna add in my 3/4 cup almond milk and stir one final time. All right, this is all mixed together, so now I'm gonna add that to my dry ingredients. I'm gonna pour that into my flour mixture and fold it in. I've got that folded in. You don't want to overmix this. You just want to kind of fold that in until you're not seeing any more dry patches of the flour mixture. So I've got that done. So now I'm gonna add in my huckleberries, and I went ahead and put them back in the strainer because they were producing quite a bit of juice, and you don't want all that juice in there. That's the downside to using frozen, is it adds a lot of extra moisture when they defrost. Another thing you can do to kind of cut back on some of the extra moisture, and I didn't do this, I probably should have, would be to lay these on a paper towel and just let them sit for a few minutes to just kind of absorb all that extra moisture. As you can see, it's on my hands. But these are okay. I don't think they're gonna have too much in them to make it a problem. So now I'm gonna just fold these in very gently. These berries are kind of fragile, really. You can see how small they are, and they definitely will break up pretty easily. So I'm just gonna gently fold these in to keep them as much intact as I can. Okay, this is looking pretty good, and I wish you could smell this. It smells so amazing. I can't describe the smell of huckleberries, but if you've smelled them, you know what I'm talking about. So that paired with this batter, it just smells amazing. Now I'm gonna get out my muffin tin here. I'm gonna go ahead and line that with these silicone liners. You could do just regular muffin tin liners if you want, or you could probably even just spray these down with some cooking spray so they don't stick and just put the batter directly into the muffin tin. But I really like these silicone liners, so I'm gonna use those. And now I'm gonna take my ice cream scoop here. This is actually an antique. I guess it pretty much shows. I put this in the dishwasher and I shouldn't have. That's why it's looking super gnarly at the moment. But anyway, this is, even though it's an antique, I'm pretty sure it's standard size. So I'm gonna take this and just fill up all my muffin cups. I shouldn't say fill. You wanna do about 2/3 of the way full, maybe a little more. I did end up pretty much filling these instead of doing 2/3 of the way because there's a little more batter than what I remember there being. So you could actually probably get away with doing 16 of these maybe, and that would lower the points. But I'm gonna end up factoring these at 12, and I don't think they'll be too big for the cups, honestly. All right, so while I was filling these, I had my oven preheating at 400. That just went off, so these are ready to go in the oven. I will be back once they are baked. I let these bake for just about 20 minutes. You want to do anywhere between 15 and 20. They've got just a slight little browning on them, but they're definitely done. I can tell by tapping on them. But now I'm going to go ahead and let these cool, and then I will break into one of them for you and let you know what the points are. I let these cool for about 5 minutes in the muffin tin, and then I removed them to this rack here to finish cooling. We went on a walk, so we've got some panting, hot dogs. So if you hear weird things, that's what that's about.
Sweaty hot husband.
And a sweaty, we're a little sweaty and hot ourselves. But anyway, that gave these, well, I didn't just call us hot. Physically, temperature-wise hot, we are. You're correct? Hot. Thank you. You are too.
Spoken. Okay.
All right, so I completely lost track of what I was saying there. Oh yes, so while we were walking out in the 80-some degree heat, these were cooling in here. So I'm gonna have my hubby give them a taste test, let you know what he thinks of them. They are 3 points a piece for us, which to me is not bad at all. Let's get in here, get a open it up shot. Oh yeah, look at that. I love huckleberries. What better fruit is there than a huckleberry, I ask you? Well, you'd probably say strawberry, huh?
That's hard to say. Huckleberries are supposed to be enjoyed in moderation. You know,
that's
a rare
true.
treat.
Well, that's because you can't really get very many of them for one thing. It's hard. They're hard picking.
Oh yeah.
Good? Mm-hmm. So I used an old-fashioned recipe that I had for huckleberry or blueberry muffins, like from the early 1900s, like 1920, 1930, something like that. Maybe not quite that old, but I think it was. And I Weight Watcher-ified it. And I think they turned out pretty darn good, really.
So they smell wonderful.
Oh yeah, the batter smelled wonderful.
Yeah. The muffin itself is just real lightly sweet. Mm-hmm. And so it really makes the huckleberries pop, not that they need any help.
Oh, my hand's shaking from walking. Ooh.
This is really nice huckleberry flavor. I would say that it's maybe just a step overdone.
Yeah, I'm seeing that myself.
But it's still really good, and it's hard to dry out a huckleberry anything because they're so, you know, they pop, and
yeah.
I want to try it with the butter.
I was looking at that when it was open. It does look a touch on the overdone. So I did 20. I would probably do more like 15 to 18, and I'll have that down in instructions so that you don't overcook them.
That's a good addition.
I can't believe it's not butter spray.
Yeah, but not needed.
Not needed?
At all.
Oh, that's good to know. So no butter
I'm gonna
needed.
eat the rest of them.
Okay, so those are gonna go
without
apparently.
butter spray.
Oh, I thought you were just gonna say you're gonna eat the rest of them on the plate there. So anyway, success, I think, changing that old recipe. And we got our huckleberries used up. So now we can go try to pick more this summer and then hopefully not forget about them in my freezer all year like I did last time. All right, guys, that was old-fashioned wild huckleberry muffins. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you, as always, for watching, and we will see you on the next one.